get started. So once again, thank you everyone for being here this evening. And I'm very excited to talk to you more about National Math Stars and to answer any questions that you all may have. Just to make sure you're familiar with how Zoom webinars work, at any time during this presentation, you can come down to the toolbar on the bottom of the screen, and I encourage you to ask questions. This is partially a presentation, but a large reason we host these meetings is as a chance for you to ask questions related to our programs, admissions process, or anything else on your mind. So without further ado, let's dive on in. And here's an agenda for how we're going to spend our time this evening. We're going to start talking a broad overview of National Math Stars as an organization and how we design our programs. From there, we'll get into our admissions and selection process, and then have time at the end, as I mentioned, for open question and answer. But before we get there, let me take a minute to introduce myself and my colleague Keith, who are here on the call today. So hello, everyone. My name is Alex Logoff. I am the head of partnerships here at National Math Stars. Previously, I was a fifth grade math and science teacher out in California, and I've also worked in the education technology space, nonprofit sector, and in public policy roles in education. And Keith, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, great to be here again, y'all. My name's Keith. I'm the partnerships manager for Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. So, wonderful to be here. And similar to Alex, I come from a background of being in education. A picture of me there is from my time teaching in the sixth grade classroom. I miss it very much, but I'm so happy to be here at National Math Stars as well.
Fantastic. So let's go ahead and dive in. National Math Stars, in the broadest sense, is a nonprofit organization, and our mission is to ensure that mathematically extraordinary students coming from all communities have the resources they need to reach the frontiers of math and science. The way we do this is through a trio of programs that will take some time to dig into. We have our awards program, where we partner with schools, states, and school districts to recognize and celebrate all top young math students. And then we have our STARS programs, Pathfinder and Voyager, that are aimed at supporting students with real 1 in 1,000 talent who need extra support. So let's kick things off with that awards program. We partner with schools, school districts, and state departments of education. Our partners use existing test data, often from a state standardized exam or an exam that they're using within their school or district, either in math or gifted and talented programming. And they identify, using that data, the top 2% of their second and third grade students. From there, we ship schools and districts a set of award material that they pass out to the students they've identified. And if your child is one of those who's been identified, they will bring those award packets home, which each contain a gold award medal, an official award letter, as well as some information for your family on the process as a whole. And you can see on the left side of my screen a whole set of students from last year proudly wearing their gold award medals as they are National Math Stars nominees. As I mentioned, inside of those award packets that I'm sure many of you have received, you'll find that gold award medal, you'll find that nomination letter, and you'll find an FAQ page or an information page for you as parents. In those letters, you'll also find an invitation to apply for our long-term support programs. That's the Pathfinder Stars and the Voyager Stars support program. Now, these are both competitive, but long-term support programs that, if accepted into, will follow your child over 10 years through the end of their high school experience. Last year, we had 12,000 students from across 7 states nominated as National Math Star nominees. From there, about half of them went on to apply for our STARS program, and we were able to welcome just over 100 Voyager Stars and just over 250 Pathfinder Stars into our 2025 cohort. Now, I share those numbers, 12,000 going down to 100 and 250, to emphasize that this is definitely a competitive process and not every exceptional student can be accepted into our STARS program. It's why, as an organization, we really encourage schools, districts, and you as parents to take a moment to congratulate your child simply if they've been nominated. Receiving that gold award medal and that award letter means a lot, and we encourage you to really celebrate if your child comes home as a National Math Star nominee, because that, in and of itself, regardless of what happens later on, is a big deal and we think deserves congratulations. Now, let's say you do decide to apply for one of our long-term STARS programs. Let's break down the difference between Voyager and Pathfinder and what they both entail. In the core essence, both of our programs are built to build on top of what your child is doing during the school day. We are not a private school. We do not replace school. We are here to build on top of what is already happening throughout the school day. Because we know students who are going to grow up and push the frontiers, they're not just doing well in elementary math, middle school math, taking hard high school math courses, and hoping for the best. They're doing things like finding extra opportunities to engage in open-ended, ambitious problem solving. We need to become part of a community of fellow math-minded peers. We need to talk about summer enrichment and summer activities, other skills like coding, artificial intelligence, or robotics. Students need to develop hobbies, pursue games, join clubs that match their interests, and so much more. Our mission as an organization is to make sure that all talented students have the opportunity and the support to access all of these yellow enrichment bars on top of what's happening in the school day. We do this through 4 key programmatic supports, and I'll break these down one by one, but they're academic development, financial assistance, community, and advising. These are the same across both of our STARS programs, so across our Pathfinder STARS and our Voyager STARS program. What's the difference? Well, Pathfinder STARS is available to any student demonstrating 1 in 1,000 math ability, while Voyager STARS is a program reserved for that same math talent of 1 in 1,000, but where the student demonstrates significant unmet need that merits additional investment above and beyond what we'd usually do. So let's talk about that academic development piece. For our STARS, we want to help them enroll in advanced coursework, often going above and beyond what they're doing in school. In Pathfinder, this involves recommendations and discounts on some of the best course providers we've been able to find. In Voyager, it's that same support, but we'll pay for the entire course as well to make sure money isn't the limiting factor for those children accessing it. We have a team of tutors available to support and work one-on-one and in small groups with all of our STARS. We support families and their children with applications for competitive summer camps. In fact, we've just been working with many families to apply for the prestigious Epsilon Summer Camp, where we've had a good number of students accepted for this upcoming summer. And we also help students access, find, and participate in math competitions. Now, beyond advanced academics, we know there's no way around it that money plays a big role in the types of opportunities and enrichment resources your child is able to access. And that's why financial assistance is a core part of our work. For Pathfinder STARS, we have a pool of need-based financial aid that in general ranges between $0 and $3,000 per family per year. And that can be used to offset costs of those advanced courses, summer math experiences, competition fees, and more. For our Voyager STARS, we offer each of them a $3,000 flexible budget that is not used for things like courses and camps, which we will pay for through our own program. We also, for our Voyager STARS, believe technology access is key, which is why we make sure to provide them all with laptops and peripheral internet and connectivity accessories. Community. This is the third pillar of our program and probably the one we hear most from parents that they're looking to find. If your child is showing 1 in 1,000 math talent, they're likely the only student in their school or maybe their entire district or town that's working on that level. This can be a lonely experience and a challenging experience, which is why we recruit cohorts of National Math Stars each year with the hope that over that 10-year journey, they grow close together and form a community of fellow like-minded mathy extraordinary friends. With Pathfinder and Voyager, we're organizing regular events, the main difference being an exclusive in-person welcome weekend for our Voyager stars around October of each year. And the final piece is advising. We often hear from parents that they want to do whatever it takes to support their child, but they're just not sure what that whatever it takes is. That's why we have a team of professional family advisors. You can think of these like case managers who work with families directly to make sure no question goes unanswered and that you have a go-to resource in moments of uncertainty. For our Pathfinder program, we also provide text and email-based advising to make sure any time of day, at any time, you can get an answer or support with an issue you're dealing with. And that wraps up what our programs look like. Over 10 years, we believe these pillars of advanced academic development, financial assistance, community, and family advising form the foundation of helping talented students grow up to reach the frontiers of STEM. In just a minute, we'll flip over to talking about admissions and selection, but I wanted to pause here and open up the floor if anyone has questions that they'd like to have answered. Yeah, I see a great question coming in right here. The question is, can you explain what advocacy is from the previous slide? And when we talk about advocacy, this is primarily talking about working with your child's school or school district. And the most often way that this surfaces is around acceleration. So if you are interested in having your child skip a grade level in math, or skip a grade level across all subject areas, this is a conversation that, depending on your school or district, can be simple or it can be very complex. Our team has now worked through this process across many schools and districts, and so we can bring our expertise to helping you advocate for your child in the best way possible within their school or district setting. Another great question came in. It asks, when you mentioned summer camp, are these local to our region or are they camps the kids would travel to? Great question. So if I come back to this piece on academic development, we believe summer camps and STEM summer experiences are a key opportunity for all students in our program. We are agnostic to whether these are local day camps or travel sleepaway camps. We think that's a decision best made for you as a family and what you're ready for. But we support families in accessing both of them, finding local opportunities and helping cover the costs, as well as some students where they're traveling alone or they're traveling with their entire family for a residential sleepaway experience. See another great question here. Will all the finalists make it to Pathfinders, if not the Voyagers? That's a really good question. I'm going to put that one on hold for about 3 or 4 minutes, and we'll touch on that in the next session on admissions and selection. Let me just check for one last set of questions anyone has now on program or program design. All right, without further ado, let's flip over and talk admissions and selection in that case. So here's a look at what our 2026 admissions funnel will look like. This year, we expect to have around 10,000 students apply for our STARS program, encompassing both Pathfinder and Voyager. When you submit an application, you are automatically considered for both programs. It is one application. It is not separated at all. During our finalist selection period, we will bring that 10,000 applicants down to about 800 finalists for Pathfinder and about 500 finalists for Voyager. Those finalists will go through additional screening to help us arrive at our final target cohort size for 2026, which is 125 Voyager stars and approximately 400 Pathfinder stars. Now, to address the question in the chat around finalists making it to Pathfinder if they're not accepted to Voyager, I think it's really key to touch on the difference between these two programs. So Pathfinder is open to students who clear a 1 in 1,000 math ability bar. Voyager holds that same math ability bar, but also has this requirement of significant unmet need. So in general, regardless of performance on the exam, a Pathfinder student and a Voyager student are performing at the same level. A Voyager student just has more unmet need that merit additional resources from our organization. Because of this, and because of the limited hard cap around 125 on our Voyager program, there is the potential for a Voyager finalist to become a Pathfinder star, as the Pathfinder number is a little more flexible. We don't expect to have any Pathfinder finalists become Voyager stars because it's not an ability difference and it's less space constrained within the Pathfinder program. So how do we go about this? Well, let's talk about that first section where all of our applicants are winnowed down into a set of finalists. This happens through two methods. By far and away, the most common way students qualify as finalists is through completing our National Math Stars admissions exam. This is required for all applicants and will take about 1 to 2 hours and is completed online on the computer. This will be available to all applicants after our application period opens. So if you have already applied, there is nothing to do right now. The exam will not be released until June 16th, and then all applicants will have 2 weeks until June 30th to complete that exam. Students' scores on the exam are looked at against all other applicants we've received, allowing us to set a bar for 1 in 1,000 ability that lets us select finalists. I also like to emphasize, because this is perhaps the most frequent question I am asked, is how can my child prepare for this exam? Know that we work hard to ensure this exam does not require and does not reward preparation. We want to look for students who demonstrate great talent, not those who've put in the most preparation work. We don't require any knowledge of advanced math content, and we try to build our entire question and sequence to be agnostic towards preparation materials. This is one avenue that students demonstrate that 1 in 1,000 math ability from. However, some applicants bring existing test scores from school or from their personal life that also allow us to confirm their level of math talent. This could be from a range of tests. Most typically, these are IQ or gifted talented screener exams like the COGAT, the NNAT, the WISC-5, among various others. These can also be school assessments like the NWEA MAP test, iReady, or a standardized state assessment. Now, while these can be used to qualify for math talent, know that we set the bar very high for existing test scores, and we really do place most value on the admissions exam. So a student can qualify solely based on their existing test scores, but this is typically reserved for the most exceptional, truly off the charts, more than 1 in 1,000 qualifying scores. So we've narrowed it down. In July, we'll announce our finalists. As I said, approximately 800 for Pathfinder and approximately 500 for Voyager. And families are sorted into one of two groups based on their demonstrated level of need. When we think about need, we try to understand all the factors that impact your child's ability to access opportunities. This includes everything from income to parental education, location, among many other factors. There is no single factor that's disqualifying and no single factor that is automatically qualifying. We believe in assessing families and applicants holistically, and we try to live up to that expectation. That being said, depending on which program you're shifted into, there are two separate finalist processes. For our Pathfinder program, it's very simple. It involves just one additional exam, and this will be a proctored COGAT exam completed virtually. in collaboration with Northwestern University's Center for Talent Development. If you are selected as a Voyager finalist, it's a slightly lengthier process, including that same proctored COGAT exam, but additionally a family interview, a math interview with your child, as well as a formal income verification process. Combined, that first step with the admissions exam and existing test scores and those second finalist screening processes allow us to select the 400 or so Pathfinder stars and the 125 or so Voyager stars that we expect to make up our 2026 cohort this year. Here's a timeline of what you can expect. We're currently just started February, and applications will remain open until the end of day, June 14th. So if you have already submitted your application, there is no action needed right now. Just sit tight, relax, no action required until June. If you've not already applied, know that you have plenty of time. Applications are not due for several months. Just please make sure you submit them before our June 14th deadline. Over the summer, as I mentioned, June 16th to 30th is our initial admissions exam window. Early July is when we select finalists. Those finalists are screened throughout the month of July to prepare our team to make deliberations and announce our 2026 cohort of National Math Stars on or around August 15th of this year. And with that, that is an overview of our admissions and selection process. I would love to open it up to any more questions folks have. And with this, I will also encourage you to ask any questions on either programs, admissions, selection, organization, or anything else you'd like to know more about. I see a question. How do existing test scores play a role? Can you elaborate? Would a 99th percentile or a 99.9th percentile in nonverbal COGAT automatically qualify the student as a finalist? In general, the only scores that really push the needle for us are 99.9th percentile we're looking for on a submitted test score. As I said, some, but not many students bring those with their application. Almost all of our finalists are qualifying through our admissions exam, but we do have that existing test score opportunity for students with those truly exceptional scores. Next question asks, do you have information about participant retention? Do kids who enter the program tend to stay in the program? Great question. National Math Stars was founded in 2023. So we have not yet had a full class go through all 10 years, but we're currently working with approximately 400 students, and retention has remained extremely high. In each cohort, retention is between 98.5 and 100%, meaning we've had 0 to 1 student leave at any point since the 2023 cohorts began.
And Alex, we've got another. I mentioned we would answer this one live. What is required for the income verification?
Yeah, so income verification, we ask families to self-report their household income in the application form, as it is one factor we consider when deciding whether an applicant is a better fit for a Pathfinder or Voyager program. If advanced to a finalist, the income verification is just submitting of any documentation that allows us to verify that value. Most often it is a tax return, a W-2, a pay stub, or in other cases, a flexible arrangement. Our goal is to not make this a barrier. We understand some of this information is sensitive, and we're committed to working with all applicants to make sure you can verify your income in a way that you're comfortable with. So please don't be concerned there. I see a question. Can my son be accepted in Pathfinder with his MAP test results if he is 99.9 percentile? So there's no single factor that automatically guarantees someone admissions as one of our stars. However, we're generally looking for students with 99.9th percentile or above scores in that initial screening where we select finalists. As I said, all finalists then take an additional proctored COGAT exam, and that's all factored together. But in general, if your child has a 99.9th percentile or above existing test scores on a standardized nationally normed exam, like the NWEA MAP test, for example, that positions them as a very strong candidate for our Pathfinder program, yes. Another great question here, and Keith, actually, thank you for getting to it.
Can
Regardless of
we
your test scores, we do ask everyone to take the admissions exam. This is helpful for us as an organization, both to learn how well our test scores are calibrated to existing test scores, but also to make sure that we have even information for all applicants. So even if you have existing scores, we do require it as part of the admissions process.
Thanks, Alex. And we also, before we get to Maria's one, we had one pop in the Q&A. This is a fun one. What is the definition of 1 in 1,000 math talent, and how would you describe this math talent?
Yeah, it's a great question. 1 in 1,000 roughly correlates to the 99.9th percentile. However, we often don't use that exact language just because exact reporting standards and exact percentile cutoffs and the way different assessment providers use it varies bit by bit. And so we roughly use 1 in 1,000 as a colloquial way to say above and beyond the 99th percentile. Generally, 99th is, of course, fantastic, but we're looking for students who clear that by a non-insignificant amount, and that's really the target for our program. And Maria, I want to actually answer yours live as well, which is what portion of applicants qualify for the program if they do not have MAP scores in the 98th or 99th percentile? This is actually a non-zero percentage. There are many applicants who bring scores on something like the NWEA MAP test that may be in the 98th percentile, but when they perform in our admissions exam, perform at a 1 in 1,000 level, they complete our proctored COGAT exam, which is a gifted, talented, or kind of IQ-based exam, and perform extremely well. And those students advance even though their initial test score from a school exam may be lower than 1 in 1,000. So I would encourage you to still apply, even if your child's scores don't seem to rise to the auto qualification standard. We are often surprised at how students perform throughout this process and say the only way to really figure out is to go for it.
I have a correction to the application. Is there a way to resubmit? If so, what do I do?
Yeah, great question. If you've already applied and you want to change, edit, or modify anything, add to your application, please just send us an email, admissions@nationalmathstars.org. Let us know what change you want, and we can go ahead and do that from the back end. Two great questions here. First, is the admissions test similar to the COGAT proctored exam for the finalists? They're certainly related. The exact question types and formats and exact content are a little bit different, but I think we really like the COGAT test as a content agnostic measure of math aptitude rather than ability. And we've pursued a similar strategy when designing our own admissions test. I see another question here. Our COGAT results don't specify to the 10th of a percentile. Do you know where that additional information can be found? Yes, COGAT is a great test because it actually follows a normal score distribution with standard deviation of about 16. So honestly, my best recommendation is just to go into a chat bot like Gemini or ChatGPT, plug in your score and say, what percentile is this on the COGAT? It tends to be very accurate there. In general, the 99.9th percentile is around approximately a 150. I think it's 145 to 150. It's somewhere in that range. Great question. And so I want to repeat it out loud for everyone on the call. To apply, is it mandatory to submit standardized test scores? The answer here is a resounding no. I would say less than 20% of applicants submit test scores. Most applicants do not submit any test scores, and that's totally okay. It does not harm or impact your application at all. Your child can absolutely still qualify as a National Math Star by completing our admissions exam in June. I see a question about applying even though their district is not participating in the nomination process. I do want to highlight, while we would love to partner with your district to nominate all the exceptional students they serve, being nominated is not a requirement for applying. If you as a parent feel like your child demonstrates exceptional math ability, we encourage you to take the initiative and apply directly. You can do that today by visiting nationalmathstars.org/apply. There will be a direct link to submit an application from our website. See a couple more questions coming in. Let me tackle these one by one. First one is another question about the exact kind of cutoffs, 99.9th versus 95th on different sections of the COGAT. Remember that regardless of your existing test scores, your child will complete the admissions exam in June. We're not here to prejudge everyone's existing test scores in the moment. We will gather the information with your application and make a decision during that June selection window and make sure to let you know whether your child's been selected as a finalist or not. The other one I see asks, how long is the program? Are there additional requirements to remain in the program? So if your child is accepted as either a Pathfinder or a Voyager Star, our commitment is to work with you and them through the remainder of their K-12 experience, meaning our program will continue up through their high school graduation. Along the way, your child does not need to retest or requalify to remain in the program. Once they are in, they are in. However, we do have expectations for participation and involvement with the different aspects of our program, including taking regular advanced math courses, engaging in STEM summer experiences. And so in general, we expect families to spend anywhere from 3 up to 6 or 7 hours per week on National Math Stars programming. And that level of engagement is the only prerequisite to continue participating. Next question asks how we determine whether a child is a better fit for our Pathfinder program or our Voyager program. As I said, both programs hold the exact same bar for mathematical ability, that 1 in 1,000 level. The main difference is Voyager finalists demonstrate significant unmet need across a range of factors. And so, as I said, there's no single factor, but we do place a lot of emphasis on household income. We also consider parent education level, location, school quality, rurality, among many other factors when making these decisions. And just a little more on our ideology there is our goal with Pathfinder is to make sure parents have the resources and guidance to get their child the support they need. Voyager provides those same resources and guidance, but also understands those families will likely not be able to access those opportunities unless we provide additional support and direct financial coverage for costs incurred. And so that's the kind of core ideological difference. I see a question about a MAP test result from school that only is a score, not a percentile. 2 comments here. First, if you're curious, you can always Google or search online to convert MAP scores into percentiles. It doesn't quite do the tenths of a percentile very well, and MAP is a non-standardized score distribution. However, the good news, point 2, is you can just submit your score. Don't even worry about the percentile. we have charts on the back end that we've built exclusively with the MAP testing team to give an exact percentile rank to every score. I see a great question here. Why second and third graders? Is there a science between identifying math potential at this age? Really good question. When we were starting National Math Stars, we looked at competitive math summer camps at the high school level. And one of the things we realized is the students attending those camps tended to come from high resource, high opportunity backgrounds where they'd been steeped in math from a young age. The thesis of our organization is that if we want to help uncover more talent across the country and ensure that all talent has the opportunity to thrive, it relies on a couple key factors. One, start young. We really think impact compounds over the years. And so starting as young as possible is core to our philosophy. We are proud to be the youngest starting talent development program currently operating. Invest heavily and invest over the long run. That shapes our philosophy. We would love to start even younger. However, there is a trade-off that the younger you go, the harder it is to get real signal of talent. We think second and third grade, this is typically when school systems begin any type of real formal assessment, is the earliest we can get real signal to identify students while still being early enough to give us a long time to provide support. A couple more questions here. In what cases are Pathfinders allowed one-on-one mentoring calls? This is on an ad hoc basis, and I think for our Pathfinder students, we often can connect them with a pool of mentors and tutors that they may choose to access. We're just not able to directly cover all of the financial cost of those opportunities. And so if one-on-one tutoring or mentoring is something you seek for your child, and your child is accepted into Pathfinder, know that we have many resources and opportunities to help them find those opportunities, even if it's not directly from one of the mentors in our program or directly sponsored financially from our organization. Then I have a question asking about score on MAP test in the 99th to 100th percentile. I can't do this live on the call. It's not that I don't want to, it's that MAP percentiles depend on age, it depends on month taken, it depends on, right? There's a lot of factors that go into it. So I'm not going to read all the individual scores. If your child has a very high score, we're generally looking for third graders somewhere, I think it's somewhere in the 230s, but don't quote me exactly. And second graders somewhere, I can't remember, like 218 to 225, somewhere in that range is kind of cutoff-ish. If you're anywhere around those scores, just submit them. We may consider them. And if we don't, there's still the admissions exam that they could use to qualify.
Alex, we got another one. I think that would be better live. Are the parents able to connect in the program? If so, what does that look like? So I think we're getting to like that community feel.
Yes and yes. We think the community piece is key. This is really what we hear most frequently from parents, is that what they seek is community, both for their child, but also for them as parents, because we know supporting gifted, super advanced students is hard. It's hard for you as parents. Yes, we have opportunities both virtually to connect in messaging platforms like Slack or community groups. We also have family liaisons within regions who plan in-person events, and those can obviously be attended by both parents as well as students. And if you're accepted as a Voyager star, we also host a welcome weekend where parents as well as their stars travel for an in-person weekend of kicking off the program together.
Currently, no more questions in the Q&A box right now. We have one that just popped up in the webinar chat.
Yeah, this is asking what was the cutoff last year for COGAT scores. We're not going to share exact cutoff scores. This will vary a little bit year to year. Know that we're, as I said, looking for roughly 1 in 1,000 ability levels, and then our team will make the deliberations from there. I'm going to put in a call for final questions. If you have something burning on your mind that you'd like to ask, please ask. Uh, we'll wrap up these last few questions. And so, Keith, thank you for getting this one. But if your child applied and does not qualify in second grade, they are absolutely welcome to reapply in third grade. In fact, we've had some students who don't qualify in second grade reapply and have been accepted. And so that's absolutely something that occurs. All right, I'm going to give about 10 more seconds. If you are typing a question, please type out that question quickly and hit enter. A fantastic final question to wrap up for today. If you were late or you did not hear anything in this meeting, yes, this has been recorded. We will upload it to our National Math Stars YouTube channel within the next week. So you can visit us on YouTube by searching for National Math Stars, and you'll be able to find a direct link to this recording. Please know we are also hosting additional family information sessions throughout our application season. You can find those by visiting our website, nationalmathstars.org/apply. Scroll down to the bottom and you'll find the direct registration links for all of the information sessions this season. And with that, let me say a big thank you to all of you for joining us today. We appreciate your thoughtful questions, your insights, and we're very excited to get to meet many of you and your children throughout our selection season this year. And without further ado, have a wonderful evening, and we'll be in touch soon. Thank you, everyone.